Hey, welcome. This is Brandon Moore from More to the Game Sports Show. Thank y'all for tuning in today. This is our first show, January 6th. Extremely excited about this opportunity. Uh, Listen, I live, eat, breathe, all the good stuff, sports, and that's what we're here to talk about today and moving forward. So hit that subscribe button. It's at the top, at the bottom. But hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow. Make sure you get all access to me, all access to the show, and all that. Shout out to Jim Mint 10 Sports as well for this. Man, we are riding the wave and getting big. So listen, welcome. As you can see, I'm representing my city, Louisville, born and raised Louisville, Kentucky. So listen, let's jump into some drama right now. Let's jump into some drama right now. Who's better, Kentucky, Indiana, or Chicago at basketball? I'm born and raised in Kentucky, actually Louisville to be exact. I lived in Indianapolis, Indiana for a few years, lived in the Chicago area for a few years. So tell me your your take on who's best. Me, listen, it's hard. It's hard to choose. It is hard to choose because each one of them is very, very unique in its own right. The style, the work ethic, the development, the the build of the player, like the build of the players, and all that. But listen, it's a great conversation piece. Great conversation piece. But for me, listen, I'm from the 502, man, and we've had some straight ballers come out, straight ballers. One of them, as you all know, Rajon Rondo, straight out of the 502. He's one. D'Angelo Russell. I'm gonna even go back a little bit further. Allen Houston from the 502. Let me see who. Dwayne Wheat, the prettiest jumper that you'll ever see. I'm trying to think who else. Man, I can keep going and going and going that are born and raised out of the 502 that have went on not just for high school accolades but college and even the pros. Listen, huge state of basketball. Now, Indiana, I will say, I mean, you have Larry Bird. You have Larry Bird. You got T. You got I believe Mike Conley is from Indy. I mean, listen, I know I just named some guys right off top. But I mean, but it's great to have that. And then Chicago, Pooh Bear. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Just had his number retired from the Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose, uh, by far, and I'm not talking about MJ because MJ wasn't born in Chicago. I'm talking about born and raised out of Chicago, out of Kentucky, out of Indiana, like born and raised straight up hoopers. And now you can't forget New York. You can't forget Cali. You even can't forget the down south brothers because I'm gonna tell you them some hoopers too. Them are some hoopers too. But it's give and take. I would like to see Kentucky's top 10 or maybe 12, Indiana's 12, Chicago's 12, and we do like a round robin, right? You do where everybody plays once, and I would like to see how many wins. I would probably say Louisville would probably Kentucky. Kentucky would probably do maybe. Mm, I think everybody may go one of one, maybe, maybe, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Your take on that. Your take on that. Please give me some feedback. Give me some feedback on that. Please give me some feedback on that because that's something that will spark tons of debates. It's already been sparked as well. Okay. Now, let me tell you something. Past couple of weeks, I've watched a lot of good basketball. A lot of good basketball. A lot of up and coming players out of high school, even some out of college. I will tell you though that the landscape of basketball is changing. I mean, they come out with new rules. I know you heard about the new JUCO rule, right? You go to JUCO, and then still, when you go, if you go to a 4 year school, you still get your 4 years. Incredible, Incredible. So it literally is leaving you 6 years if you just went from year one all the way to the end. 6 years to play whatever sport, get your education, all that type of stuff, right? All of it. I mean, it's cool. And now you have certain universities that are going to be paying their players directly. I think one is actually I just seen a message about it. Just seen a message about it. Let me check and see my message. And I was like, oh, straight up was like, where my eligibility at? VCU came out. This was January 2nd. Yeah, January 2nd from Richmond.com came out, said VCU will pay its athletes directly starting next year. As colleges embark on a new era, VCU expects to pay 45 million to compensate its players. This is VCU. Now we're not talking about Shaka Smart. VCU made that immaculate run some years ago. This is VCU, competitive, but a little bit down though, right? And they're talking about their $4 to $5 million to compensate their players. Shit, where my eligibility at? That's what I need right there, man. Insane. Now just imagine with all the rule changes that they're gonna have now. Junior college, NAIA, Division One, Division Two, Division Three. It's the thing. The schools that don't offer the scholarships, like I believe Division Three doesn't offer any scholarships. Some NAIA schools don't. But I'm just saying, now it's going to be so competitive. The rules are going to have to switch over to them too. Like they're going to have to be given some type of money to try and get, because if not, the sports programs are shut down. It was shut down, right? But the JUCO thing, I believe, is probably the hugest thing, right? Because when you go JUCO for tons of reasons. It could be financial situation, grades. It can be you need a couple more years to kind of try to put yourself over the top, whether it be, because right now everybody's not breeding 6'8", 6'9", 6'10s, right? So if you're like an average height player, 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, maybe 6'1", you may go to JUCO for a year or two to try to patch your stats, try to get more reps, be on a very competitive team, work on different things that you've kind of got some feedback about, right? Sometimes it's just the year that you came out is so competitive. One of the options of you to try and get ahead, and sometimes to get ahead academically, would be go to JUCO. Get those first couple years out the way. So now, even though when you go back, you now with the rule, you go back to your 4 year school. Then guess what? You've already got 2 years out the way. You're finished in 2 years. Maybe you enroll, take some basket weaving class or whatever, or go to grad school, and you're still getting your school paid for. Right now, granted, I'm thinking as a parent would, right? Because I am a parent, but I'm thinking of somebody who's also have multiple degrees, and I've kind of milked. You kind of got to milk it a little bit, try to get some of your school paid for. And now with these new rules, it's open for anybody, right? Open for anybody. So now you look at like high school players now, literally, you have to be an exceptional player for a Division 1 school to look at you. Exceptional, or have a name. Now, the name part, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that another show, because I go on for that, or have a big name, or have a big name. Reason I say this, because nowadays you got the transfer portal, right? I remember a few years ago when the transfer portal first opened up, it was like 5,000, 6,000 names in there. There's kids just leaving. They're just leaving, and it's like when you think about the reason, why are you leaving? Like, okay, if you paid attention lately, Jim Larinaga, I think he's been in Miami for about 14, 15 years. Decorated coach, successful, all that good stuff, right? He's at Miami. They went to the Final Four last year. 7 or 8 of his players left to go to the transfer portal. And he asked them, aren't you happy? Yeah, we're happy. But to make money, I need to put my name in the transfer portal. So Jim Larinaga is like, I can't get people that. These coaches who coach for, now granted, don't get me wrong. Now I will say, don't get me wrong about this. There are times where coaches just up and leave for money and jobs, right? So I'm like, can't expect the player not to do that. Now the tables are kind of turning. Now the playing field is becoming more level now. Where now you have players that were stuck at a school, like man, they go through a few coaches that impacted their careers. Now I don't like to see nobody lose their job, right? But now you have another coach who has stepped down because you can't compete with the way of the new era, the NIL era. It's crazy. But again, back to high school. You have some really phenomenal players in high school. Really phenomenal. Louisville just signed, obviously Louisville. Louisville just signed Michael Brown Jr. DME Academy, elite player, 5 star, I believe, 5 star. Dude is a playmaker. I got to see him play the other night down here in Louisville, uh, and just dynamic playmaker. And it's crazy, man. Because and we'll get into all that too. I'm telling you, the lineup for this show is just ridiculous. We're gonna talk about prep schools. We're gonna talk about all kinds of schools and that. But let me get back on track. Michael Brown is a playmaker, exceptional. The kid is, I want to say, he's over 6'2", and so you you go to those type of schools, those type of academies, you gotta kind of get seen. High level is AAU program, whatever the case may be. And I'm gonna tell you, the kid's nice. So he's an exceptional player. Now the NIL, you're kind of you gotta kind of get with the in the right situation, the right feel of it, because so much goes into that. So much goes into that, right? But I'm gonna tell you, so watching really good basketball, and probably one of the better teams I've seen play this year. What I've seen play this year down here in Louisville, Saint Xavier High School. Man, they have a full package: guard play, pressure on ball, rebounding is probably the biggest makeup that I can say that separates them from the rest of the pack. It's rebounding. Even boys rebound the basketball like a college team should. I mean, they rebound, and when you get rebound, when you can rebound, you take away possessions, you take away second chance points, you get second chance points, you get extra possessions. I mean, they control the game that way, and I mean, they got some standout players, man. They got a young kid, Jackson, number 23. Man, this dude, he is built. I mean, he is built. He's I believe his dad played Division 1 football with Peyton Manning down in Tennessee. Um, Bernard Jackson. So his whole I know his family. I know his family. So I mean this kid is built, but man, he has the intangibles. Intangibles. Dude can play defense on whoever you want to play defense on. He's got a nice shot, and he's got a nice fadeaway. Doesn't he's not reckless with the basketball. Not reckless. I mean, again, these are young men, right? They're gonna make some mistakes, but this kid is a solid. I can tell when he's out of the game versus when he's in the game. Put it that way. Then they got this freshman. I can't think of this kid's name, but man, this freshman is by far, I mean, stud of all studs. I'm gonna look up his name real quick. Stud of all studs. This freshman, he literally. So I was scrolling on Instagram. I was scrolling on Instagram um, about a couple months ago. Like right when somebody was filming the JV game, and man, I'm seeing this dude literally above the rim. I mean, this kid plays above the rim like I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything like it. And I mean, and he's probably about maybe 5'10", maybe 5'10". Um, maybe, maybe 5'10". I was probably about 5'10", 5'11". Remember, this kid is dynamic. This kid is absolutely dynamic. Kid's solid. Then they got, I mean, they got a point guard that is a stud, man. I mean, they got point guard stud. They got shooters. They got size. I mean, they have like Chance Dillingham right now. The guard is probably one of the best guards I've seen in a very very long time. He's 5'10". He's just fast. He's fast. Can handle the basketball, and he plays defense. Jeremiah Jackson, that's the kid's name. Jeremiah Jackson is a junior, 6'5", solid, just stud. I mean, they got. I mean, they literally have just a lot. Josh Lindsay. Actually, I was wrong. 6'1" freshman. 6'1" freshman plays above the rim. Saint X is probably the now, mind you. When I was here, when I was living in Louisville, I coached at Trinity High School, and man, we had our way with Saint X. I mean, they were competitive, very competitive. We had our way. Now I'm looking, I'm like, man, Coach Klein, head coach of Saint X, just has opened the books and is letting these kids play, and they're getting these dynamic players. So anyway, I digress about that. But and I'm gonna tell you some really, really, really good. I know male high school has some really good players, really good players on their team. They got a young kid. I think his name is Jordan Mitchell, up and coming kid, man. Nice, nice, nice. I mean, we got some. Louisville has some really good talent. I know Butler. Butler as a kid, he actually, what is his, the kid's good. Let me just say that now. The kid good. The kid actually, um he just got, Michael Jones. Michael Jones. They just had a game against North Oldham. I think he had like 20 points there. Solid player there. A lot of good, like I said, a lot of good basketball that I've seen over the course of a couple of weeks. Saint X is probably the standout. Now I'm gonna tell you. Now I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna go up to Indiana. I'm going up to Indiana, man. I mean, even though Braylon Mullins plays for Greenfield Central, I think they're top 25. Fisher's High School right now looks like a juggernaut. 12-0. This is like a juggernaut. Then this is high school basketball, man. High school basketball. And these kids literally are playing like they're in college. And I just feel just all over, from the discipline to the energy, the defense, offense, all that, the playmaking, all of that stuff. These kids are studs. Fisher's, is always solid. Lawrence North has always had a solid program. So, I mean, like I said, a lot of good basketball. And I'm gonna tell you, there's a couple players that I'm gonna mention. Not Braylon Mullins. I'm gonna mention that, low key. I think it's because of the school they go to, but low key may not be getting a lot of the attention. But man, these kids can go. Bryce Mathis out of Perry Meridian, and Jaden Young, out of homeschool out of Indianapolis. Man, these boys, they play on the same AU team. These boys can go. They can flat out go. Bryce, I think he just went for 34 against Perry Meridian. Jaden, I think he just went from like 20 or so. But man, this kid can get you a triple double anytime he wants. The, the kid can see the floor. He can score, but he's more of literally a facilitator. He's like Andre Miller. If I had to put a name, he's like a more like an Andre Miller, Magic Johnson type. He wants to facilitate, set you up, good passes, and every now and then show you that he can score. Bryce is just 100 miles an hour, but he's so under control. He's got a layup package. I mean, the kid can go. I mean, like I said, there's all kinds of, good basketball, man. I know right now the Boozer twins are just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Bryce James is another ridiculous player. Now, I say that, but I love Bryce's development. and how he has developed himself into a really good player. Now, I just learned he just signed with Arizona. Now, I can't get into all that. That's not me to judge. However, do have I seen more talented players in high school that could sign with Arizona? Yes. But never know the situation, right? You never know the situation, man. And again, some of the next gen players, man, that I'm talking about, man. These are the conversations that we are going to be having on this show, man. We're gonna talk about stuff like that. We're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna tell you, I coach as well, and I tell these kids, you never know who's watching. Never know who's watching, man. Here's the funny thing: I'm sitting up in the stands. I'm sitting up in the stands watching some good old basketball, right? These high school games, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, man, nobody knows. I got sports show that I'm watching these kids play. I'm watching these kids play. But I'm gonna tell y'all a gym right now. It's an eighth grader. He goes to I want to say North Odom. Starting point guard Rondo's son, Rajon Rondo's son. I think he's in a perfect situation out there. Perfect situation out there. A lot of people can be like, man, well, if he went somewhere, where else would he start? Would he play? It don't matter because where he's at now, he's got it. And I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, watching him play, plays like his daddy. He's under control, strong, and again, he wants to facilitate. He wants to pass you the basketball, and he plays a little defense. So I think David Levitch is out there. Good coach, and all that stuff. So I'm telling you, you are in for a treat when it comes to basketball. When it comes to that, and again, now I will say this. I will say this that W. So there's a school here, WEB Du Bois, and I would say they got a young kid. I believe he's a sophomore, and name is Jeray, I believe. I may be mispronouncing it. Man, I watched that kid play a local high school here, Eastern High School. This is a few weeks ago. Man, that kid went off. Man, I'm watching this. I'm like, he by far, not only is the best player on his team, but I'm like, man, he really controls. He controls the floor as if he's the best player on the floor. The head coach James Alexander, I know him, really good coach, and I love what he's building out there at WB Du Bois, man. So shout out James Alexander, keep it up out there. Now I will say I'm a little disappointed in the school I used to coach for, Trinity High School. I'm a little disappointed in them right now. But normally, man, when you're at Trinity, you do hear Trinity has to be at the top in something, whether it be football or basketball. And right now, they're going through some changes right now. So hopefully they can get back on track. Not that, man. And I'm gonna say shout out to Louisville Cardinals, man. Shout out Pal Kelsey. Hey, Virginia, big win. That was up, baby. Virginia, big win on the road by 20, 70-50. Man, and to know that you're only playing 7 to 8 players right now due to injuries and things like that. I'm gonna tell you, impressive win. Impressive win, impressive couple wins. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Very excited to see what he's gonna do after, in regards of these next few years, man. These next few years, who's coming back, who's leaving. I mean, you just signed Michael Brown. Who I'm a beg to differ with some people. Signed him as a point guard. I don't think he's a straight point. He's no Chucky, but I think he's a playmaking guard. So I think he's more of that off guard, more of that combo guard, um, just because of his playmaking ability, how long he is, and things like that. So I'm very interested to see who else Louisville can sign and things like that. So yeah, man. Listen, also I want to speak on something. This show more to the game is literally not only are we talking about sports, I'm shouting out people. I'm doing all that, man. We are trying to take this show from grassroots brick brick background, right? Big background to bigger heights, bigger heights. And I'm gonna tell you, reach out to me. reach out to me for comments, feedback, anything like that. Reach out to me, man. And listen, when you see me at your local game, say what's up to me. You never know who I'm watching, what I'm gonna say. We're gonna talk about it all. We're gonna talk about, man. I already have 100. Well, I'm closing in on 100 topics that we're gonna talk about. 100 topics. We're gonna talk about it all. From the highlights, the lows, coaching changes. We're gonna talk about the mental, emotional effects of the game, money, all that good stuff, man. Y'all gonna love it because I love it, all that. So hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in to Be More. It's more to the game. Peace.